jersey? Do I want to try and chase 50 games? Do I want to chase 100? It's not the same landscape anymore because the money value overseas for an All Black is huge. So that's what I mean in terms of a lot of these players are not going to. That's not the same. The jersey's not enough anymore. I don't think it is for a lot of players, but still, we can go back to guys like Charles Piutau. But then it's understanding because some people, they don't put value on the jersey anymore. But I think it's different. It's people understanding the holistic view of where Charles Piutau is coming from because it's about family. It's about it's about setting yourself up for the long term because you can only play rugby for so long. And so you either chase that, you chase the jersey, become like a Richie McCaw, become known for just finishing your career here and now. But then, imagine the money that Richie McCaw could have made overseas. But everyone's different, and so that's where Kevin Mialamu, he never went overseas either. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, Joey, what's your thoughts on the midfield debate? Where do you see Laumape in the grand scheme of the All Blacks and stuff?
Just given his current standing at for me, it's not even. It's not so much Laumape. It's more, okay, what has Laumape got inside him that is going to help him get to or perform at his best so that he can be in the running for the ABs. So far, he's got TJ Perinar at 9. He's got this bloke named Fletcher Smith. Who the heck,
Yep.
Is he gelling with Fletcher Smith to run the game together? I think that's what it's going to come down to. His selection in the ABs is going to come down to this Fletcher Smith guy, whether or not he helps him or is detrimental to his progress. We all know Laumape is a battering ram. We all know he can do the deed there. But like you say, Rog, he needs to be able to evolve the way Ma'a did if he wants to have a long career in the black jersey. Like he should look at that exclusion last year as a real wake-up call. He hasn't got a mortgage on the jersey. He's number one preferred 12. And he won't. He keeps making the same run for the AB jersey that he has in previous seasons.
Yeah.
He needs to adapt, and the way he's going to adapt is by having a kicking game, by thinking more, by putting other people in holes that you may not have before. So, yeah.
I think the disappointment of that World Cup as well is, again, we refer back to Ma'a when he was excluded in the World Cup, and the way that he was able to bounce back from that disappointment in 2007. So, yep, as our one-man audience has jumped in there to confirm that. So, yes, and that's the thing, because Ma'a, he had reason to feel aggrieved as to his exclusion in that Rugby World Cup. But the way that and the character that he showed to come back from that and then able to play on for the amount of time that he did and for his longevity speaks volumes to not only himself but the way he developed as a player and adjusted to according to what the coaches were wanting to get out of him. Because sometimes, we could also say that, the coaches could be wrong in that sense to try and change a player the way the player is, but at the same time they have the best interest not only of the player but the better, the best interest of the game and the country all in one as well. So, but I think Ma'a is a general example there for what Laumape could look to. But then, like I say, everyone's different. Everyone will have different priorities and different goals and achievements. But I think the way Ngani took that disappointment last year, I think he's someone that would want to try and prove a point to try and make it might not happen, but I think he'll stick around, hopefully, to try and regain sort of some inclusion into the next World Cup.
Yeah, I hope so, because I think that Nonu is a very good example. Like that 2007 World Cup where he got left out, and then Sonny Bill came over, and he was sort of like the shiny new toy, and everyone was talking him up. And rather than kick his toys out again, because he was potentially on the back burner, he thought, no, I'm going to keep fighting. And yeah, I think at the end of 2010, they went on an overseas tour, and Sonny Bill Williams took the 12 jersey, but Nonu said, no, I'm going to keep fighting. And he ended up taking it back off him And then the rest is history. He's that guy. If you look back at his career, he's a guy who setback after setback, he just keeps backing himself to come back and be. I can learn from this and I can go from this. So I agree with you guys about Laumape. So one thing I'll say about Laumape is I thought that Beauden Barrett helped make him look good. So I thought that Beauden Barrett, because of the threat he is, he's the 2-time World Player of the Year. When he runs the ball, all the defense they're on high alert and they just run to him.
Play for the Blues.
So when he passes it to Laumape, I thought, okay, Laumape almost gets a free run, and that's why he looks good, and he might show that he's better than he really is. But now that, like you brought up a good point, Joey, about Fletcher Smith, Laumape's still having a good season with Fletcher Smith, even though Fletcher Smith, I don't want to be rude to the guy. Yeah, he's Gaia, man. He's Gaia. But Laumape himself has still played good, despite not having Beauden Barrett inside him. So I think that's a credit to him, and something that hopefully the All Black selectors will acknowledge and say, hey, look, this guy's playing good regardless of a massive drop in the guy playing inside him. So, you got to give him at least some credit for that.
Usual bolters for the Hurricanes, I think, for me, and I think most of you will agree, is Artie, Geordie Barrett, Dane Cole's the possibility to be included in the top 3 hookers. TJ Perenara, Ngani, I think I'm throwing Ngani Laumape in the hat.
You're picking him?
Yeah, to be in the wider, like a 30-man squad, if they have like a rugby championship or end of year tour, I think Ngani could be an inclusion either way there. But okay. I do agree with Isaac's point. He's just texted in there that Dane Coles is too dirty now. Those are Isaac's words, and I agree. I think he
reminds me of a young Roger. He's got that little bit of yellow or red card in his game,
I think I just always wanted justice, but I think Dane is a little bit like somewhat of what Akira looks out for as well. He wants to get the last say, and I think he likes to put that mongrel back. If someone's going to try and hurt either himself or another one of his players, he's going to hurt him even back tenfold, So that's the kind of player Dane Coles is. But obviously, if Dane Coles just concentrates on what made him the world's best hooker several years ago before his run of injuries, I think he could come back and finish his career off really nicely there. But Scott Scrafton to bolt into the AB's 15. And if the Springboks don't pick him up, I think Cobus Van Wyk might be locked into the New Zealand system with the AB's 15 as well. And Vince Hussell, Ben Lamb always teetering on the outskirts there.
Nice. Joey, what's your thoughts on Dane Coles? I know that the finer arts of the front row will leave to you guys. That's your guys' area of expertise. I won't chime in. But what are your thoughts on Coles? Do you think he's still got it at AB level?
I think he needs to be pushed more by Asafo more. Asafo's got the goods to push him. Yeah. He's a few more years to prove himself. It's quite unfortunate for Asafo that he's there because it means no game time. Because they're always going to pick Dane Coles over him. But he is an absolute talent, young one coming through. Dane Coles, as much as I think he needs to stamp that out of his game, the dirty stuff, I think we'll remember him for years and years and years to come because of it. But also, still,
and that could be a good point or bad point to you.
Yeah, I was going to say that. It's good or bad.
You look back to how Fitzy was. Fitzy as well. He was niggly like that as well. Yeah. We remember those parts of his game. We don't remember him being an absolute awesome ball runner, but we remember that he was a good leader. He was always in the ref's ear. We remember that he played a lot of games. Person to go over 90.
Yeah.
He was durable, and he kept another talent like Norm Hewitt on the bench for years. So he needs to think about his legacy, and if he wants someone like Asafo Moore to not spoil that for him, to stay on the field by not being dirty.
And it's one of those things where, when you're coming to the end of your career and you look at guys who have gone before Dane Coles, because Coles, he's been at number one, for a little portion of his career up until the run of injuries and exclusions in the teams. But you look at the guys that have gone before him, Andrew Hoare, Kevin Mealamu, and then even going back to Fitzy and Anton Oliver even, you don't see them in Mark Hammett. You don't see them in the same light as you did Dane Coles. Even though Dane Coles will have that, he was the best and awesome ball runner, awesome distributor of the ball, had skills of a back. But I think what shines for a lot of those other players that had gone before him was their character, and that I think that again that resonates again with what Akira has to sort of decide what kind of a player does he want to be remembered for. But at the same time, like I said, you don't want to discourage them from being the unique players that they are, but trying to find that balance. And you can have that mongrel, but is it going to be at the expense of your team or of you being on the field? And that could cost teams games. And I think the All Blacks want to stamp that out of their players as much as possible and try and win with 15.
It's a real shame that someone like Ben Lam is on his way up. Real shame that someone like Vaea Fifita hasn't claimed a stake for a starting jersey. He seems to be on the bench more than not. Zassel's another one. He needs to push for 13 jersey.
Yeah.
Proctor's doing really well.
It's and when I think about it, Ben Lam, and then who's near the end of his career, opposite to a Mark Teleta, who's at the beginning of his career, and where the possibility of obviously Ben been trying to get into the All Black contention, and he's had some wonderful Super Rugby seasons, especially of recent. He does nothing wrong. He's an awesome finisher. He's a great runner of the ball. He has a good presence of mind, and the same with Mark Teleta. What he's shown early in his career, especially this season in the first 7 matches, is that the tragedy would be if he gets locked into the New Zealand system and doesn't get utilised. Whereas on an international level, whether the Samoan jersey is enough for him to be lured that way, I don't know. But I think
so.
Yeah, but then at the same time, it comes. Yeah, it's always going to be a crossroads for players who can represent multiple countries or nations. But then once you go one way, that's the only way. So it'll be interesting to see where Mark Teleta goes. Interesting to see where Ben Lam eventually does, because even if he does get a berth with that New Zealand 15, that could be a stepping stone, because I believe it's a sort of a interesting way that the New Zealand rugby have gone, introducing that sort of.
I understand why they did it, because they're trying to lock in more players as well.
And that's to counter the exodus of a lot of players going overseas, choosing and
re-representing other countries. So I mean, it's interesting when you talk about Ben Lam, because there was a period where, sort of like a couple of seasons, where he was arguably the best wing in Super Rugby, But I mean, when I look back, I was just looking. He's competing with. They had Ben Smith there. They had Israel Dag there. Rico Ioane is another one who was in there. So it's not that he did anything wrong. It's just that the guys ahead, they didn't deserve to be dropped in a lot of ways. So the All Blacks, when I look at it, so sometimes it's one of those things where the players like Lol Muppet, which we just talked about. To me, he's done nothing wrong. He hasn't played bad for the All Blacks in the games he's got. But just the guys that they've got ahead of him, they're just a little bit better. So I mean, it's just one of those things. That's always going to be the issue with New Zealand rugby when they've got so much depth. But I'll give you guys some more stats on the Canes. So the discipline is an issue. They're first in yellow cards, and with 5 yellow cards this year. And Fifita, he's number 1 for yellow cards this season. So I think that's part of the reason why they've got might have some issues on why he's not starting. But I mean, and they're 14th in lineout, so they've got a couple of issues. And you touched on, Joey, the first 5. To me, that's still an issue. They've got Garden Bishop before he got injured, and he looked like he was sort of semi-okay, but they haven't really got anyone who can cover for Bowden Barrett. So, I mean, there's just some issues there. You guys got anything else you guys want to add before we move on to
no.
The team I hate? All right. Well, that's it. We'll move on